Get a £5 free bet every week with Offer Club from William Hill. Simply stake a total of £20 or more across the week on pre-match football accumulators with 4 or more selections, and you'll get a £5 free bet on the Friday. Join William Hill Offer Club on mobile or online now.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for iFall TV in association with Mackin's Gym Marbella. We're at the weigh-in here for Golovkin Brook from across the pond, as he likes to say.
Yes.
B-Hop himself.
Yeah, what's up,
Mr.
man?
Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah, y'all thought I was asleep, but I wasn't. But I was waiting for an introduction to get passed through, and then I wake up. First of all, I'm good to be, I will say, in your town. It's going down Saturday, HBO Championship Boxing at the O2 Center. Triple G, as you know, and KELL Brooke. A fight that people going to say that Brooke has a lot of heart, but it's a but. I believe he's too light in the ass to withstand the heat that Triple G is going to present come Saturday night on HBO Championship Boxing. I don't see Brooke being manly strong enough to be able to not only keep Triple G off him, but make him respect him. And that's key when you're fighting a knockout puncher, aggressive fighter, confident fighter, on the roll type of fighter, like a Triple G. You must be able to, in some minutes in the fight, early than late, establish respect. And that's not done by moving, that's not done by staying out of the way, that is surviving. I think it's too many negatives why he wouldn't win this fight, and that is Brooke. My opinion.
You yourself were in a similar position to this years ago against Tava, where people were telling you not to take that fight, weren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, and they had some good reasons in some aspects of it because, I mean, one of Roy Jones's demise in his career was the Tarver knockout. And obviously the Clint Johnson also, but being a guy that, you know, people never looked at as a big light heavyweight in, you know, the middleweight division, which where I made a Hall of Fame career just doing the middleweight division, they couldn't see and imagine I'm putting on 15 pounds of whatever and then taking on Antonio Tarver for the light heavyweight championship, which was tied in with history of which Sugar Ray Robinson couldn't come out for 15 rounds to accomplish. So I was motivated by a lot of things, but yeah, Brooke is under that type of, no one is giving him a chance, like you said, and that's the word. Well, the conversation is going around, but yes, it's a percentage less than more that he has a chance. Obviously, everybody has a chance, especially a proud champion. But when you look at factors, and facts and factors don't lie. They are what they are. The 30+ minutes that they're going to be in that ring, Brooke has to be absolutely perfect if he don't want to go to sleep.
KELL Brook champion at 147. For many years, or for the last couple of years, people have been saying he should be moving up weight. He himself is a big welterweight, but a big welterweight, as people have pointed out, is not a middleweight, is it? Regardless of whatever.
No. Well, if you look at, you look at the steps: welterweight, junior middleweight, middleweight. Yes, I know I accomplished it, but I'm Bernard Hopkins. And the knowledge that I received prior to fighting Tarver from my career and starting off as a light heavyweight for at least 5 or 6 fights in my career, and then of course super middleweight, from light heavyweight to super middleweight, and then eventually middleweight. These things were so important of the process of most fighters working their way up, working my way down, and then went back up with the Tarver fight. It will be a completely one of the biggest upset in boxing if he pulls this off. That is KELL Brook. But I really realistically don't see it happening Saturday night.
After the Khan-Canelo fight, you were there, Oscar was there.
Yeah.
Canelo called Triple G into the ring.
Right.
And I think everyone got a sense of the fact that that fight was at a stage where that could happen after the talk, specifically after that night. Oscar said that he would be calling Triple G's team in the morning. Now, within 2 weeks, we had a situation where Canelo vacated his belt. What happened from that moment that Oscar was saying, I'm going to call Triple G's team in the morning?
I was saying also, too, that the fight was going to happen on record, and believed that the fight was going to happen. But what I do know is when you have two sides not coming to a agreement on, I guess, smaller things, who the A side, who the B side, who this side, who that side, you don't get off on the right foot from the door, from the get-go. So if that hurdle can be accomplished, now you go into the second hurdle, then the third hurdle. When you have those things that's important to both sides, and no one can come to an agreement on most of those things, you're not going to even get to the point that makes the point of a fight. It never get off the ground. And part of it was that who deserves and who brings more to the table. And that was battled to the point of not getting to the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth and wherever the number stops, which accumulate to an agreement. So when you hear the word dead in the water, it didn't take long to understand that we couldn't agree with their demands, and we wasn't going to agree and wouldn't agree to their demands. And when you got that type of disagreement amongst two sides, then you won't have a fight. And unfortunately, it haven't happened in the last 10 years as often. And it finally happened with the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight, and some still criticize and say that it was, it was late, but it did happen. Whether it would have happened then or happened now, and I think it still would have been an outcome, but in this fight, we had a chance to make it right. And that's why I mentioned those two points 2-3 seconds ago, because we had a chance to make it right and had a chance to show the boxing world, right? We always talk about the fans, right? And everybody that, you know what, we want to do it, but we cannot, as a company, throw not only smarts in the right thing and negotiate for the interest of the fighter, and then try to come to some common ground where both sides will understand that you have to give some to get some, you know. And there are criticism strong right now from what Triple G was accusing Canelo of, fighting smaller guys. And Saturday, he's fighting a welterweight that's coming up for the first time, fighting a beast. Yes, I said that. I have no problem giving anybody their respect. So I hear the fans. I talk to the fans, not just in Philly, all over. You know, it's called Information Highway. And I hear that all the time in the last at least week or two. How he's going to call Canelo out and call him this and call him that. And he's fighting a smaller guy himself, you know, calling the Kettle black. So we have some really things to talk about, a lot of things to talk about that to me is when you say something and you saying the right things and then you turn around and you do it yourself, is very hypocritical. As far as I'm concerned right now, because of that statement and now this particular fight, it sort of shares a light on why in some part, not all of it, the fight didn't happen. Just based on exposing, or at least you thought or you think it was necessarily to expose what Canelo is doing, and whether it's true or not, you turn around and actually do the same thing that you're accusing the next guy of doing or trying to do. To me, that is not missed, and the fans are smarter than people give them credit for.
Is it fair to say, in your opinion, that everyone's to blame why the fight didn't happen? A bit of everyone, not just specifically Triple G or Canelo's team? Or?
I believe I said that earlier. I said yes, but as a promoter, your fighter is first. You represent the fighter's best interest first. And a lot of fans don't want to hear that. A lot of fans don't care whether they should or shouldn't. They care about getting the viewership that they pay for, that they want to see. We understand that. But in the same token, Oscar and Bernard Hopkins and Eric Gomez and Robert Diaz and the Golden Boy team, but especially Oscar De La Hoya and myself, just because we loved and did the sweet science for a long time, people have to understand and get adjusted to that we are a business, man. And when people and fans get to understand us in that light, and it takes time, because we understand that it takes time to get used to seeing us, business man, in this position. So we, like a counterpunch, bob and weave, have to steer what we used to do in that setting now in business. And so when it's business, to do right by your client, the fighter, and other fighters are watching, hopefully, or choices, they will see how they are being represented. That is important now and long term. And when you establish that through being a business man, you will understand all those things that we are in position to represent. In the ring, we represented that to the fullest. Now, out of the ring, just because you put a jacket on and say you someone, your actions and your accomplishments and your deeds and what you can bring to the public that they're willing to see is so credibility important. With criticism or not, have to be displayed and will be on my end.
In your opinion, has Gennady Golovkin faced what you would call an elite fighter, or is it fair to say he hasn't yet?
No. Absolutely not. He's been, to his credit, fighting who will fight him 90% of the time. The other 10%, you have to be creative if you want to be great. You want me to say this? You have to be creative. You have to be that creative if you want to be great. And what I mean by that, because some might not know what that means. You start looking for opponents that people will question your sanity because you believe that you are that person, you are that guy. Now, let me look up a weight class or two. Let me look up and see who else is dominating like me. And if history has been proven, then let me be in the company of those histories of a Bernard Hopkins. Let me be in the company of the history of the great Sugar Ray Robinson. Let me be in the companies of the great Sugar Ray Leonard. So let me be in those companies. How do I get there? So you have to start looking up. If you can't look down, then look up. What's up there? Sergey Kovalev. Well, he's occupied right now, or at least he's going to be in November. Well, there's other fights that can be possibly made, not a lot, but there's some fights in another division that are there because nothing else seems to be there. But welterweights coming up, who wasn't a big puncher at welterweight, it's not going to be a big puncher at middleweight. You don't gain power by putting weight on. You're either born with it or you're not. And so this is where opinions cannot be an agenda to make things look different than what they really are. And so if you clean out the division, and if you cannot get the fights that you want, we get it. The fans get it. People get it. Now you gotta blow the next guy who thinks he's the best in your division out of the water by what? Taking a risk in a division that nobody expects you not only to win, but to even go to. Because now it becomes people are not interested in it. And that's 60-40, that's fair, 40 is not fair. The 60 is you gotta take the blame to the point of you know what it is before you got there, and then that you know what it is, Now you got to go ahead and you got to say, okay, how do I force people to watch me? How do I force people to say, he's taking on it, right? He's going up, what? You want people to say why. And when people say why he's doing that, that means they're going to watch. They don't, people, they love daredevils. And so when you're that daredevil, there's a lot of people waiting for that accident, unfortunately. But that's a time to capitalize on greatness and not in your comfort zone. Not in your comfort zone. To make any fight happen in any weight division, I challenge all the fighters that's going to look at this, or people that's having influence in boxing in any way, that's what we should start doing across the board.